It's Beyond the Plate, episode number 26. Well, what they call is it a silver jubilee or golden jubilee? 25 weeks is what? Silver
jubilee.
50 is golden. We've crossed the silver jubilee on India's favorite food show on the radio. We come to you every Monday at 8:15 a.m. Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru, Chennai, and then every Wednesday on the Radio 1 International YouTube channel. This is a show about the history of food, the relevance of food, the taste of food, and one person who loves eating and the other person who loves conjuring up food. Chef Amrita Raichand, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Rishi. And what an auspicious day to actually have crossed our a small milestone, but definitely a very meaningful one.
It is Guru Nanak Jayanti, or Guru Purab as it's known. Well, there is a revelation that Amrita has to make on the show right now. Very few people know this.
Did you not know it?
I had no clue.
Oh, so I'm part Sardani, and I think it's written all over my face and the way I speak. Most people, actually, it's not. Some people think I'm Parsi.
Your mother's side?
Mother's side, yeah.
Like Mr. Bachchan. Mr. Bachchan is half...
oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Mrs. Teji Bachchan, which is his mother, was a Sadani.
Oh.
And he's very proud about it. I mean, he talks about it on KBC and things like that. And of course, the father, which is Shri Harivansh Bachchan, was a UP caste. So it's an interesting combination.
So I feel definitely more like a Sardarni than anything else.
That's lovely. Okay, come on, give us some history before we go into the food.
Before I start telling you about the history, I want to tell you that Harvard University, through their pluralism project, has actually done an extensive study of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and a lot of my research today is based on that. We know that Gurupurab, like you called it, Gurunanak Jayanti, is the celebration of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's birth, and it is definitely one of the most important days for all Sikhs and me. Rishi, very interestingly, most of the information about Guru Nanak Dev Ji has been handed down through a collective of testimonials, you can call them, anecdotes, which have actually a rough chronological order. They are called Janam Sakhis. Then, of course, tradition. And of course, all the shabads, the hymns in English that you call, because Guru Nanak Dev Ji used to spread the message of love and equality through these shabads. So whatever is known about him is mostly through all these three mediums.
That's wonderful. And if I'm to understand correctly, he was born in 1469, Nankana Sahib, Pakistan, near Lahore. Passed away, not very clear, either 1538 or 1539. This is in Kartarpur, which is the Pakistan side of Punjab, which is still home to one of the famous Gurdwaras. And a few years ago, of course, Pakistan made a special corridor for Indians to visit the famous Kartarpur Sahib. And remember, Navjot Singh Sidhu was a special guest, and he had also travelled there. So, a little bit about his early childhood, please.
Rishi, interestingly, Guru Nanak Dev Ji was very saintly right from the beginning. He was born to a merchant family. He went on, of course, to get married to a daughter of a Khatri who bore him two sons. But he obviously had those qualities of a saint from a very, very small age. So very, very young age. So there's a story that goes that his father wanted him to learn the ways of the business when he was all of 12, and he sent him out to the market, gave him some money and said, go do a sacha sauda, means good business. What did Guru Nanak Dev Ji do? He went, bought some food and fed a lot of hungry Brahmins who had not eaten for many days. He came back and told his father, to me, this is sacha sauda. Again, there are incidents of him where he was born in a Hindu family, like I told you, and I'm sure you are aware of the Janeo ceremony that happens, the thread ceremony. So when he was being asked to do the ceremony, he stood up to the priest and said, I'm not going to wear this thread. You give me a thread that will go along with my soul when I die, because nothing goes with it. If that thread will go with me, then I will wear it, otherwise I will not. The priest obviously got quite angry, but Guru Nanak Dev Ji held his own and did not wear that thread.
And obviously a very well-travelled soul, because we're talking somebody who travelled as far east as China, as far west as Rome, and there's an interesting story about when he visited Mecca.
Oh, that story. I'm sure even you must have heard of, Rishi, because this is a story that my nanny used to tell me. In fact, my nanny used to give me so many stories of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. There are many wonderful books on him also. I know I had bought one for my Agastya and I just couldn't seem to find it before this episode. But I go back and find it. So this story is lovely. So while he was traveling, he reached Mecca and he was very tired on the last day of his travels. He went off to sleep. His feet were pointing at on the direction of the holy house of God, so the holy Kaaba of Mecca. So he was violently shaken up by the official and said, "What the hell are you doing? You know, your feet are pointing at the holy shrine." And he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but can you please move my feet to where God is not?"
Wow.
And obviously, the official had no answer for that. Guru Nanak Dev Ji propagated the fact that God is all around, which we all know, right? He's omnipresent. There are many of such references which are found in hymns that Guru Nanak Ji, used to sing. And like I said, nothing is 100% written, nothing is written and set in stone. But from his hymns, you can tell that during the attacks that Babur had launched on Lahore, he must have been around at that time. So it's safe to conclude that around 1520 he had returned back to Punjab in Kartarpur, as a matter of fact, where he settled back with his family and his sons. And this is the period, his last 20 years of his life, where he dedicated to laying the foundation of the Sikh religion.
Great. So now let's go on to the celebrations. How is Guru Purab normally celebrated? What do Sikhs or believers do on this wonderful day?
Well, Rishi, like most Indian, rituals and customs, even Sikhs make it so beautiful. It's truly a divine sight. And in fact, Guru Purab celebrations start 2 days prior. There is a Khand Path which is kept, which is a 48 hours of praying, the recitation of the Guru Granth Sahib, which is the holy book of the Sikhs. Then a day prior, the Nagar Kirtan happens, where there's a long and big and very colorful procession that happens, which is led by the Panj Pyare. There are five men who lead this procession. They hold the Sikh triangular flag, which is called the Nishan Sahib. And the Guru Granth Sahib is carried in a palki and taken all around. There are flowers, there's colors, there's a lot of martial arts that are at display.
For those of our friends down south who are listening from Chennai and Bengaluru, a palki literally means a palanquin, where
Yes.
the princes and queens of yore were taken in a small box-like cabin, which was normally held up by guards on their shoulders. Continue. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for adding that. And on the final day, the main day of Guru Purab, it's all about the amazing langar. Besides going to the Gurdwara, seeking the blessings, listening to the Shabad Kirtan, which really, really, brings you so close to God Almighty. And finally, you come back with the Guru Da Langar, the Guru Da Prasad. You have to eat this. It's simple food, but it is so delicious. There are 3-4 main components of this langar. So you'll get this aloo gobi sabzi, which is made with fried aloo and gobi. Then you have this delicious tomato chutney. And then you have the kali dal, the very famous kali dal, but not the butter dal that you eat in restaurants. The kali dal of the Gurdwara, the langar, is something else. It's got a bit of rajma also in it, and it is truly delicious. Then you'll have thick chapatis. Now, under normal circumstances, trust me, at home you will never eat those thick chapatis. But when you go for a langar and you have that thick chapatis, it goes so well with the rest of the sabzi and the dal that it's a perfect fit. And Guru Da Langar cannot be complete with anything without something sweet. So you get this creamy, this delicious kheer made with rice. And of course, you get the Kada Prasad. That happens in the Gurdwara itself. And you finish with the Kirtan. There's a Ardas and the Kada Prasad is given to you, which lots of people fight for, including me. All my childhood, we always used to go for second helpings, and the Baijis used to literally, give us, literally stare at us. But I want to bring one very interesting point to you about the langar. The concept of langar is beautiful because it is about giving food to everyone and anyone in need. They don't care about the caste, class, religion or gender. everybody is welcome for the langar in the Gurdwara. That's one thing. Second thing, you cannot waste even a morsel of food. So if you go back with a little bit of half a chapati or a little bit of sabzi, the Baiji will send you back, and the sevadars, and they'll say, please finish, and they'll watch over you till you finish, and only then will they take your plate away from there.
That's beautiful, and it's arranged, cooked and organized all by volunteers in the Gurdwara.
Yes.
The Ask Amrita section comes up at the end of the show. It's 9833 943 943 9833 943 943. Ask any food related question, and Amrita is sensitive enough to answer it in the most beautiful manner. Meanwhile, it's the recipe of the day. So, I presume it's got to be Kala Prasad. What else can it be?
Of course, had to be for all those who can't go to a Gurdwara or don't manage to go to one. I was very fortunate, Rishi, because, my mom's not been too well lately. But the last recipe that she taught me was her Kala Prasad, which she used to make so well. I'm not sure if I can still crack it the way she does, but I know my son loves it. He calls it Nani Ka, halwa. And it's a very, very simple recipe. And I want to add a little bit that when you actually make Kala Prasad, with the view of making it on this, religious occasion, on the auspicious occasion, then you should always make it with your head covered and without slippers, because that's a way of, offering respect to the Almighty. So, very simple recipe. It's a very, very to the point measurement. It's 1 cup ghee, 1 cup atta, which is whole wheat flour, 1 cup sugar, and 2.5 cups of water. So you add the sugar to the water and you boil it till it dissolves. And in a deep vessel, kadhai like we call it, you're going to heat the ghee, and then you add the whole wheat flour to it. And you need to just bhunjo it like they say, or just cook it till you get that wonderful nutty aroma, and the color changes to a brownish color. Now here is when you have to be very, very particular to ensure that you don't burn it, you don't take it to the point where it's too dark. And once it's, once it's done to the right color, you add that sugar water to it, and you quickly stir it, and within like 3 minutes, the entire ghee separates, and literally the prasad is going to slide out of the kadhai, and believe me, you don't need to wash that kadhai after that, because it comes out so clean from it. And that's Kala Prasad for you.
Lovely. The Ask Amrita section comes up. It's Shweta Venkatesh. Amrita, please share some tips to store leftover cooked pumpkin to maintain its freshness. Leftover cooked pumpkin.
I'm not sure, Shweta, if you did mean cooked pumpkin itself, because when you have cooked pumpkin as leftovers, you shouldn't really store it for too long, max to max 3 days in the fridge. And what I like to do with my pumpkin is usually I just add it to my soup, I throw it in my, a salad, and when it's cooked, a good Frankie roll also with pumpkin, with a little bit of added onions, a little bit of green spices, and some coriander leaves. Trust me, you would not imagine you can't imagine how tasty that pumpkin Frankie roll will be. So you can do those things with leftover pumpkin. But if you really just want to eat it as a cooked vegetable after 3 days, 3 days is the max in an airtight container in the fridge. But if you want to, I'm just going to add that little extra tip if you want to, because usually pumpkin comes in a large portion, and very often people can't use up the whole thing. So the best thing is to add some, put some cling wrap and put it in the fridge. If again it's taking too much space, chop them into small pieces, put it in a Ziploc and freeze it. You can also make a puree of it and freeze the puree, which you can use in different things like, again, like a pasta sauce is great with some pumpkin puree, so much more nutritious. Soups, and, just in dals, you can add that puree. So many different things you can do. Pumpkin is in season. I have a lot of recipes of pumpkin on my YouTube channel. Please check them out on Amrita Raichand Chef and Beyond.
We'll see you back 8:15 a.m. on Monday on Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru and Chennai 94.3 Radio 1. Amrita, thank you very much, and very, very happy Guru Nanak Jayanti to you again.
Thank you, and wish you the very same.
94.3 Radio 1.